We are back on the road to City Hall, and as we enter the final stretch of this election season, we're focusing on some of the most tightly contested city council races. Tonight, we're holding a debate for one of them. The 44th City Council District in Brooklyn includes all or part of Bensonhurst, Borough Park, and Midwood. It is currently represented by David Greenfeld, who surprised many in July by announcing that he's leaving the City Council at the end of his term in December. The race to succeed Greenfeld has become one of the most fiercely competitive races of the year. And I'm joined now in our studios by the two leading contenders for that seat. Kalman Yeger is the Democratic and Conservative Party nominee. Yoni Hikind will appear on the Our Neighborhood ballot line. Welcome to both of you. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having us.
And we told you we'd start with a brief opening statement, less than a minute. We'll start with you, Kalman.
Well, Errol, thanks a lot for having us, and I really appreciate the opportunity to be here with Yoni. I'm running for City Council because I believe our community needs an experienced hand for challenging times. I've served in my community as a member of a community board for 17 years. I've been in public service my entire life. I began in my public service, in my professional public service, as an aide to a council member 25 years ago when I was 19 years old. Did that for 2 years, worked for a borough president for 6 years, worked for a nonprofit organization for 2 years, and ultimately, 10 years after I graduated college, I went back to law school and earned my law degree, and I've been an attorney for the last 4 years. And for my entirety of my life, I've been involved in community organizations. As I said, I've been on my community board and working on neighborhood issues that a council member would really deal with on a day-to-day basis, whether it's transportation, traffic, public safety. I've raised my family in our community. My child attends yeshivas in our community. I went to college in our community. So this is the community that I love, and it's been quite truthfully an honor to be part of our community and be able to serve, and I'm honored to have the opportunity to run.
Okay.
Hi, thank you so much for having me on. It's great to be here, and my name is Yoni Hikind, and all my life I grew up with the single biggest desire in my life was to make a difference in this world, outside of finding my soulmate and raising a family. So I always felt deep down that there would come a time when I would run for public office to give myself the opportunity to be there for people. I am running in this race because I believed that the people of the 44th Council District deserved the right to choose who they wanted to represent them. And I gave them that choice by creating this independent party called Our Neighborhood to give them that choice. Why I believe that I should be that choice is because I think that the campaign that I have been running versus the campaign of the opponent that has been running has been clearly a difference. And I would like, and I look forward to explaining to the audience what those differences are.
Okay, we will do just that. Before we get into it, though, I want to clear up something, because we've reported on this in bits and pieces, and I know it's been a lot of the discussion in your district. So I've got a question for both of you. You were a candidate, Kalman Yeger, in a different district up until the time that David Greenfeld announced he would not be running. Do you live in this district?
I do.
Or that other district?
No, I live in the district that I'm running in.
Mm-hmm. And why there? Why were you planning to run in a different district before this one?
Well, as you know, Errol, traditionally, it's not a question. I think that people who know our community, Borough Park and Flatbush, Midwood, the Orthodox community of Brooklyn, it's one very large community. It happens to have a district line running in between. And it's not uncommon that one neighborhood has 2 council members, sometimes more, that serve the council. And that serve the community and the council. And I was running for a period of time in a district which I lived 2 blocks into the district. I now live in the district that I'm running in. I'm a renter. I know the challenges of finding an affordable housing opportunity, and I did search for one. But as you know, Councilman Greenfeld came onto the show shortly after he accepted the position and announced that he wouldn't run for re-election, I think within 24, 48 hours. He called the station and he said, you know, let me come on and talk to Errol about it, and let me explain why. And he was very clear. He said, the best thing in the world would be for there to be a primary. But there wasn't time for that. The opportunities didn't exist for that. And as Yoni knows, because his father did exactly the same thing last year when he circulated petitions for public office for a party position and then on the last day declined. But in this situation, the circumstances were not planned. The circumstances just were on the timing.
Okay. I have a sort of a parallel question for you. Your father, Adolph Hikind, is known to a lot of people in politics. He's been a community leader for many, many years. He, like you, I believe, are registered Democrats. Yes. Why are you running on a different line?
Well, first of all, before I answer that, I just want to clarify that the community that we're running in is not just Orthodox and Jewish. There's actually many other parts to the neighborhood that are not Orthodox and not Jewish. That's just number one. Number two, that I had no choice, just like the community had no choice, to elect anyone in this race. I had to scramble to create an independent party, which again is called Our Neighborhood, simply to get on the ballot, which will be 2 weeks from yesterday, on November 7th, in the general election, because yes, as a registered Democrat, it was announced, whatever the backstory is, that there would be this open seat. Just too late to get on the ballot to be in the primary. So I am going to be in the general election.
Okay.
Errol, it's just not accurate that it was too late to get on the ballot. It was simply too late to run in the Democratic primary. But it's very important to note in our community, in this district, at least almost close to half of the people who are registered voters are not Democrats. And as you know, because you've reported on this show, that the Democratic primary this year had an abysmal turnout of 13%. What we're talking about here is we have a general election. 3 candidates are on the ballot. I'm participating in the campaign finance program. I'm limited on how much I could spend. My opponent is on target to spend close to $1 million in this race. I've spent significantly less than that because I have a cap that I've accepted. But there was never a lockout of anybody for the opportunity to run.
Well, we'll leave that alone. I think we've aired that a couple of times on the show now.
Sure.
But let me ask you your briefest explanation of, if elected, what would be your #1 priority? You get sworn in on January 1st. What's the #1 issue going to be on your mind?
The primary focus, I think, at the beginning of the term has to be the immediate concerns about the traffic in our community. And we have a lot of concerns, and it deals with the affordability of housing and the ability to build affordable housing. But that's a very long-term plan that has to be addressed. The short term, because it's the most easiest to address right away, are the traffic concerns in our community. And I think that we can do that, and we can do it with some simple steps. And a couple of days ago, I put out a transportation plan that gave some ideas how I think we could bring in traffic control officers at busy intersections, things that are not entirely thought out of the box, but things that are just normal ideas of how to bring resources into our community where other communities are getting it and we're not. We can change some intersections, we can elongate lights, we can shorten lights, and these are simple things, and these are things that I've worked on as a community board member for 17 years.
Okay, if you're elected, #1 priority.
Well, I will answer that in a second, but you hope you understand that I must address, I love it when people tell you about you and tell you, seems like you are more familiar with my campaign than I am. $1 million, we have no intention of spending anywhere near $1 million, and the point is not even about that. I don't know why you insist on putting out information that is so far from the truth, and we have many examples of that.
You know what? Let me clear it up.
Wait. I'm just talking about the $1 million.
This is a factual question that we can dispose of pretty quickly. I've seen it reported that you've raised up to $500,000. Is that in the ballpark of accurate?
I'm not sure where you have seen it reported. We have raised now close to $300,000, and we are, God willing, capping that roughly around 4. But that would be 100 less than 500, and I think what was stated was 1 million. I'm just talking about facts.
Yoni,
give the people the facts.
You
said $1 million.
You didn't say you spent it. I said you're on target to spend.
Look, I'm on track to be a billionaire, but it might take a little bit more than 2 weeks.
But you clearly spent $150,000 in 3 weeks, Yoni.
Let's take a short break. We're going to be right back with more of this debate. Later on tonight, Curtis Sliwa and Ron Kuby will weigh in on Governor Cuomo's swipes at Mayor de Blasio. That's in the weekly political rundown coming up. Stay with us.